So I want to talk a little bit about executive dysfunction today. And I'm not writing a script because I've been kind of having trouble actually recording a video today. I did record one. One is already done. So this little experiment will be, even if it doesn't work out, we're still fine. But buckle up and get ready for some brilliant stream of consciousness stuff. I can't promise it'll actually be brilliant, but we're going to give it a try. So, what is executive dysfunction? You may or may not experience this. If you have ADHD, you definitely experience this. If you have had people say you may have ADHD, but you're like, now, why would I ever go get a diagnosis? You probably experience this. Uh, so, executive dysfunction is a good way to describe it is you know you'd like to do something. You know you should do something. You know that maybe having random cardboard macaroni boxes on your kitchen floor instead of just putting them in the recycling bin for a couple months, that's not great, but you don't. So, growing up, if you often had this sort of feeling where maybe you spend half the day in bed trying to figure out what food you're going to make for breakfast, then lunch, then dinner, then a late night snack, and eventually you do get out of bed because your stomach hurts. Uh, that is because when you have less of the chemical in your brain that makes you feel satisfied, which is called dopamine, when you have less of that in your brain, you don't have much get up and go. Growing up, my mom often accused me of being lazy, which was interesting because based on how my mom described lazy, my mom was lazy. But the funny thing is, most people who knew my mom would not describe her as lazy because she's not. My mom is a very complicated person who I love very much. Sometimes she makes that a little bit difficult, but most of the time she's a very lovable person. But my mom's not lazy, not at all. She grew up on a farm. If anything, sometimes I wish she was a little lazier. But she often, especially when I was younger, would put off certain things that she didn't enjoy. Incidentally, I put off certain things that I don't enjoy. Like, you may look at the number of videos that I've made over the last few months and think, wow, the chicken's really got it together. He does all this stuff. He's so impressive. I'm not. I promise you. I'm good at a few things that you're probably not good at. I've acquired skills over many, many years that allow me to accomplish certain things that your average person would have a lot of trouble with. You would be appalled with the floor of my kitchen. Or maybe you wouldn't be. Maybe you are much less judgmental than a lot of people. I am appalled with the floor of my kitchen. There are certain things that I will probably someday do. Particularly, I will do them before someone comes to visit, or I'll do some of them before someone comes to visit. And then when they do get in the door, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I didn't get all the cleaning done. And then my friends are going to go, it's okay, the chicken. That's fine. I don't really come here to see a clean kitchen floor. I come here to play Mario Kart. But I honestly, I don't feel good about my kitchen floor. I will sometimes vacuum it or sweep it, but I also have a handle that either goes on a mop head or a broom head. And I should probably just have a broom and a mop. Because it's one more step to switch to the other head to do the cleaning task when it's hard enough to get up and go to do the cleaning task. I remember when I first started taking ADHD medication, and a friend at work joked, your apartment is going to be so clean. And they were right for a little bit. Afterwards, you get used to it, and you're still able to hold on to more of the chemical that keeps you satisfied, that dopamine. But it's still not it's still not easy to not get dragged down into just the things you enjoy, because the ADHD medication, it's not like artificial dopamine. That's not what it does. It doesn't just on its own make you good. It makes it so that when you do something that makes you feel good for approximately the amount of time that a normal person would feel good. I know some people might not like the term normal there, but I it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So to take it up with psychologists, I don't know. If you don't like the word normal, I'm sorry, but I think it is important to recognize that though there are probably a lot of people who would qualify for an ADHD diagnosis if they were just diagnosed or like saw somebody, it's important to remember that we're still not actually the majority, though we are on uh, we are on a short form video, so we're probably the majority here. But yeah, it's tough not being able to hold on to that feeling of accomplishment. I'm very happy that eventually I did finally start taking medication for it. I put it off for most of my life. Like I had a high school guidance counselor who was like, "Hey, I think you might have ADHD." And I was like, "Sorry, what did you say?" "I saw a squirrel. It had something shiny." It's really difficult growing up, especially like in the education system. Like I wasn't one of those ADHD kids who thought they were dumb. I did, however, fail every spelling test I ever took. The only reason that I spell well at all is because I type everything. I can remember the way that words feel on a keyboard. I do not know how to spell them. If you ask me to handwrite something, the spelling will be worse unless I can go grab a keyboard and type the word and then pay attention to what my fingers do. It's it's a shame growing up for so long not not knowing that there was something about me that was making it so that I was living life on hard mode. Now, the one upside is because I spent so much of my life trying not to be bored, trying not to feel numb and feel worthless because boredom is not a neutral emotion. Boredom is a negative emotion. But I spent a lot of time learning things, learning how to make a website, how to draw, how to act. That eventually got me into doing improv, and I highly recommend improv for like if you. A lot of people get to a certain age where they're like, I could never do improv, and that's fine, whatever. But I found out recently that a buddy of mine, um, their kid is, or some friends of mine, their kid is in an improv class for autistic kids. And I was like, dude, you got to keep him in that improv class. And they're like, well, he likes it. So that's not going to be a problem. And I'm like, improv is going to be so good for his brain because it really teaches you how to have the neurons that control your mouth fire with the ones that make words in your brain. It's a very, very good skill for kids to learn. It honestly makes so many things in life much easier if your brain is just in sync with your mouth. Still, that sense of never being able to hold on to success. It's tough. It's not a good feeling. It's not good to know. Well, you don't even really know because like nobody, I mean, well, my guidance counselor did tell me like, hey, you probably have ADHD. But in general, like everyone describes ADHD as if it's gonna make you like bouncing off the walls and all this stuff, which like yeah, if you're hyperactive, but if you're inattentive, then you might just be in your own little dream world making interesting things and imagining chickens crossed with computers, and that's a totally normal thing to think about and then draw. It's tough because you work so much harder to try and do something that's that you like you think, or at least I think on some level I thought that I could somehow earn the sense of fulfillment and happiness that most other people kind of got to take for granted. And it took a lot. I had to do so much more to get that feeling like what I was doing mattered. Um, which on the one hand, it pushed me to learn how to do things, get out of my comfort zone. I acquired a lot of skills, but if you know anybody who, especially if like they have kids and they think maybe their kid might have ADHD and they're thinking, oh, but we don't want to try drugs because they're a crutch or whatever. Like if the kid has ADHD, maybe just ask them if they'd like their kid to be able to hold on to happiness and fulfillment easier, and that can probably reframe things a little bit for them.